Well, it's time for some kitchen counter electronics repair. Now, as you guys can see, the IBM R31 is now working. I actually have these old R31 IBM recovery disks with Windows XP as well as all the drivers on them. So everything seems to work. Now, I will quickly say that everything's put back together. What I had to end up doing was, this is the old motherboard. This is the monitor from the other computer, which I didn't end up swapping over. I wanted to keep it as original as possible from what I remember the laptop. As you can see, this screen is about 1 inch bigger. I believe it was a 14-inch. I can't really remember too well. So don't quote me on that, but this is a slightly smaller screen, as you can see with the bezel here. Just slightly bigger. Anyways, what I ended up doing was I took this monitor, I took this thing apart. Well, it was already pretty much apart. Took this monitor off, but it was still connected. The Wi-Fi antenna is actually embedded in the monitor, so I left that where it was. And I just took it out, unplugged the little plug right here, plugged this monitor in to what would have been this motherboard. I can go ahead and actually show you guys here. I just plugged it in like right there, hooked up the power adapter, turned it on, and had the exact same issue. So that signified that the monitor wasn't the problem, but this monitor does actually work fine, so I am going to be saving that just in case this one shits out. On a further note, I don't know why exactly this motherboard failed. I realized it had failed probably about two and a half years ago when I was in El Centro, actually. And if you guys remember, I was kind of putting parts together to restore this laptop. And what it came down to was this thing was just posting garbled information like that. Just, freeze frame one of those, mess with all the characters, and that's what it was showing, something like that. So I knew that it was either, from what the forums are saying, something to do with the monitor, which it wasn't, or something in the motherboard was shot. So, yeah, to some people it would look like a lot of work to do this, but believe it or not, there's only like 4 or 5 screws that holds this little bastard in place. So it wasn't really that much of a job, and I'm used to working with intricate kind of stuff like this, but it's not something I would do as a profession, believe it or not. But stuff like this just comes naturally to me, just taking things apart and putting them all back together. I will say that I vaguely remember when I got this laptop back in like late 2002. I vaguely remember seeing the flyer, which I was trying to find earlier but couldn't find, that there was a bigger battery pack, and this would have been it, I believe, which is an NIMH battery pack, and then the one in this laptop, which is original to the laptop, is actually a lithium ion. So a little food for thought there. I'm actually going to be junking this keyboard. There is literally nothing on it that I could use. As you can see, it's in some sort of foreign language. Part of it's in English, but I have no idea what characters those are. I mean, it looks like it's Vietnamese or Chinese or something like that, but as you can see, the enter key is kind of dipped too. There's the one on mine, there's the one on this one. So this is just going to be a junk keyboard. I've got a bunch of other parts for it too that I may or may not keep. I really don't know. I'm going to say right now that this is like, what, a 13, 12-year-old laptop. Even back then, they built computers better than they do now. But as you can see, this computer, I know it's not, but it might as well be made out of ABS plastic. This is the most rigid, durable laptop I've ever owned. Now, I just finished with both the disks. Everything's been loaded onto the hard drive. So now it just needs to start itself up and boot it into Windows. As you can see, it's just doing all that stuff. One thing that I forgot to do was this laptop, being a 2002, actually came with onboard wireless. Yes, you can install an external wireless card into it, but this actually had onboard wireless. It was an option because this original other laptop that I just tore apart actually did not have the wireless card in it, which hooks up right here. And one thing that I forgot to do was this little small little wiring harness here, which has 2 wires in it. So it's not really a hard job to do. I've just got to kind of pull the keyboard away again and then kind of route it through there. It's really no big deal. And everything is finishing up here. We'll be back in a second.